Welcome to Log Time Podcast. We're back after a brief break to give you our thoughts on the fall 2018 season. From goblin slaying to bunny girls to giant kaiju fights and skeleton booksellers. It's kind of a typical Tuesday for the weird medium of anime. I guess that's kind of why we love it though. Anyways, strap in and let's get into it.
How about yeah?
How about yeah?
Yeah. How about not? Yeah.
How about not yeah?
Yeah. No. This is going well. Okay. Where do you want to start?
I don't know. Looking at what's up this season, I honestly can't really say there's a lot that I'm particularly thrilled to follow. There's definitely been some interesting pieces out there. There's a lot of sequel seasons I'm interested in. Like, I mean, I'm getting another 39 episodes of JoJo, y'all. I'm getting Vento Ario. I still haven't finished Diamonds Unbreakable though, so I can't really get to that yet.
Yeah, I've heard so many people stoked for more JoJo.
Yep. We got another season of Index, which I'm psyched to watch at some point, but I'm probably gonna wait till it's all out there to watch it.
I'll probably wait until there's a few episodes, because that show tends to go in arcs, and sometimes like they do the weirdest cliffhangers.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm interested to watch it. I want to see what happened, especially considering Index and Railgun are formative to the Backloggers' origin story.
Yeah.
But I'm not invested enough to follow it on a weekly basis.
I'm actually kind of more excited for Railgun. For whenever that comes out.
Yeah, because, I mean, between the two, Index kind of just drags.
Oh gosh, and then unlike Railgun, where they're like, it's science, go with it. Like they're like, no, this is how this magic works, and they spend like an entire episode explaining how magic works. And I'm like, you could have just said magic, and I would have gone with it. I will suspend my disbelief for you.
All they really have to do is, it's magic. I ain't gotta explain shit. I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool. Angels and demons, couple of different churches fighting. I'm down.
Pencils, ears.
Oh god. Please.
Oh, that's what I wanted to hear from y'all.
That was we did not need to remember that. But
I forgot about that. That was season 2, wasn't it?
Yep.
I don't remember dick about that show, to be honest. I remember I liked it. I don't.
Well, it's probably been years since we've seen it.
Yeah. Like, that's the issue, is that like this came out and I was like, really? After like what, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah,
they like
4 years
that
since we watched it.
They could have gone the Monogatari route and just like milked this for every single year.
Yeah, but here we are. So
yeah.
I guess that's coming out. But like I said, I think I'm just gonna wait till I can binge watch it later on.
Yeah, that's how I watch the others too. So that's probably what I'll do. Because
it would just feel weird to try to follow it on a weekly basis.
I'm not like super like I don't know. I think it feels super weird to try to watch it on a weekly basis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
And I don't know. It just would be weird. So.
Yes, I think we've established between you and me about 5 times in last minute that it would just be weird to watch it in that fashion.
Yeah, it would just be weird, you know?
Do you have a thesaurus we can bust out? Can we do something to give some linguistic variety to this?
No, it'd be weird, right?
Good radio.
Like, it'd be weird, like, because it's like weird. It's weird, right?
I can leave this cast whenever, you guys. Like, is this how you want this to go down?
No, because I think that'd just be weird. All right, you know what? That's cool. You know what? Index is great, but
I'm interested in it. Yeah, that's all I'll say right now, because I haven't seen it. So
I mean, it's kind of stupid at times, but I love it. So whatever. I like it. I'll watch it.
That's the thing, is like, it's stupid, but it gets real dumb sometimes. But it's like an okay dumb. It's like, all right, that's fine.
Oh man, if we're speaking of stupid and kind of okay dumb,
Yeah.
Oh,
boy, do I have a show for y'all.
Oh,
I
boy.
can't wait.
Matt, did you end up watching Conception by chance?
No, but I really want to hear about this.
Oh
Conception.
man.
Let's go.
Oh.
Okay,
I'm excited. What do you got to say about this?
Do y'all have any context at all for this show?
Someone gets pregnant.
Okay,
Wait,
so
what?
okay, so listen. The base thing I have to tell you before we go into talking about the show at all is it is an adaptation of an Atlas JRPG.
That's cool, but I didn't know they made that. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yep. The base idea behind Conception is
Wait,
what?
this summary makes it sound like it's the fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
What are you talking about?
No, never mind. Just keep going.
Oh, okay, all right. So our boy Itsuki
Yeah.
and our girl Mahiru are on the roof of their school.
Oh, okay, I thought
Which-
they were one and the same. All right, never mind. It's all good now.
What do you
What?
even mean?
In this summary, it was talking about getting pregnant and being in a different world, but like, I thought that it was referring to the same character for both the girl and the boy, and I was like, why is the boy
God.
pregnant?
That sounds like a really huge misconception.
No! God damn it, that's what you meant by the Schwarzenegger movie. Fuck, this isn't Junior.
Oh,
Alright.
Our boy
okay.
I'm
isn't
sorry.
pregnant, you
Let's
fuck.
pivot again.
I'm sorry, keep going. No, explain this to me, because I'm confused and
Okay,
slightly
so-
horrified.
So basically, it starts off as a, male and female protag on the roof of the school for a confession kind of thing. And it's like, oh, alright. Except our girl Mahiru tells our boy Itsuki, hey, I'm pregnant. And, of course, as you can imagine, a weird conversation ensues in which he's like, what do you mean? And there's some, dodgy here and there about, well, don't you want to know who the father is? To which, to Itsuki's credit, our boy is a good boy, because his response is not, yeah, tell me who the dad is. It's like, I'm actually just more concerned about you. Are you okay? What's up? Let's talk
Aw.
about this.
Aw.
That's a theme. He's a good boy. He is consistently a pretty good boy throughout this show, and I'm fucking stunned by it. And essentially, it's this very nice, heartfelt conversation about teen pregnancy, and then they're magicked away into the sky in a summoning circle and brought to another world.
Okay.
Wait, I was following you for a
I
little
actually
bit. but
preferred
what?
the first plot, but I'm sure we can go with the second plot. That's fine.
Yep, and
the
they
follow-up
end
will
up
be
in
interesting.
another world, and they're in a labyrinth, and our girl tells Itsuki, hey, so yeah, I'm pregnant, but there's not a dad.
It's Jesus.
Interesting.
Yes, it is immaculate conception. And understandably, he's like, what do you mean?
As
And
you would.
and then she goes to explain that she just started feeling funny, and she took 2 pregnancy tests, and they both said they were positive. And then she doubles over in pain and shoots a smoke demon out of her mouth.
Okay.
All right, getting a little Game of Thronesy. All right, I've seen this scene.
Uh-huh. And then they both get matching couple tattoos that come out of nowhere.
Okay.
All right.
And Itsuki gets a sword.
Sure.
And he fights a
That's
smoke
awesome.
demon.
Sure.
This is cool. Okay.
And
I follow.
they travel out. And so basically, they get to this weird world that's got a very old-y, Victorian vibe to it, but there's also a bunch of weird magic tech shit going on. It has a lot of very clashing aesthetics for this world, and it's just, it doesn't know what it wants to be. But anyway, they meet the king, and he's like, hey, what's up? Y'all are visitors now? Itsuki, you're a boy here. You're going to help save the world. And Maharu, you're one of 12 maidens that Itsuki here is going to perform love rituals with to have star kids to save the world.
My gosh.
Wow, this escalated quickly.
Yeah, so basically the whole plot is that like every 10 years or so, the other world comes into danger, and some folks have to come by, and our main hero has to like essentially go to the bone zone with 12 zodiac maidens, and they have star kids.
I mean, that is definitely an interesting plot line.
I'll give him that.
I can't say that I'm like disinterested, because that is like a very interesting concept for a game / anime.
I feel like almost this is like, because you know how after a while in a particular genre things start to stagnate, and so like somebody really tries to go off the deep end in order to try and rev up something new. I feel like that's kind of what this is for the isekai genre.
Well, it does go to rev it up a bit more, because in the first episode we do get to see our kids go and do the love ritual.
I'm sorry?
Nice.
There's this really bad raccoon mascot thing.
What?
It's a red panda or something like that. And it actually, really, now that I think about it, it kind of makes me think of Kyle if you were a mascot for a show, because
Okay,
he's horny. He is horny and nasty and filthy and just all full of sexual innuendo.
I feel like
all the time.
I feel like only some of those define me, and I take mild offense, but also not.
I'm giving you shit, my dude, but he's awful. Worst mascot ever. I hate him a lot.
You hate mascot characters in general,
needs
though,
to die.
so.
I hate him a lot. Oh, okay. I mean, fuck me then.
I told you. It was only partially. But yeah, the mascot kind of sucks. But the whole idea is that they essentially have to go to the Bone Zone to have these star kids. And
fucking hell.
There's this one specific point where he is giving Itsuki a hard time and is like, "Come on, man, don't you want to have sex?" And Itsuki, our good, traditional anime protag, shies away and gets a little blushy and looks off, and then says, "Yeah, who doesn't? Like, what's up?"
Oh no!
And
our good boy.
And I about scream, because it's real good. And so he's consistently like this protagonist that very much defies a lot of tropes. He's consistently considerate, but also a real horny boy. And it's interesting. The whole first episode was fascinating. But then from like episode 2 on, it just kind of drags a good bit, because it gets past episode of like, the first initial premise, and it's just like, oh, well, it definitely does feel like we're in exposition zone for a long, grindy JRPG. So it hasn't transitioned well beyond the first episode.
I do have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Why is the mascot in chains? Did he do something wrong, or is he just into bondage?
The
Is it just aesthetic?
The latter? Yeah. Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Stylistically, there are some interesting choices going on, I see, in the art design.
Pretty much. Essentially, the first episode was pretty interesting. It's kind of like you said, it was definitely a very different take for the isekai genre a bit. It was a bad show, but a fun watch. But I don't see it. I don't see it really holding up beyond this first episode.
Well, I like the idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I would recommend watching the first episode, because it's buck wild and you would appreciate it, and then just stop after that.
Yeah, like, I don't know, there's a lot of there's some shows that I always feel like that way with. Like, the first episode is always a wild watch, and it's just worth it just for that. So.
Honestly, there are some shows that I think could benefit from being OVAs rather than full series.
Mm-hmm. I think this show could benefit from not existing. But...
Well, you said there's a game, right?
Damn brutal.
So, someone should play the game. Just saying.
And figure it out.
So to be fair, there's also literally parts in the show where they're about to go into some long exposition scene to like talk about core mechanics and things of that nature.
Oh boy.
And one of the characters is essentially just like, well, if you look over here, you can find more information. And the mascot's literally just holding a sign that says, go to the website for more info.
Nice.
They literally just don't even want to explain it to you.
Yeah, and it's just like, I appreciate that we're not about to have just some long info dump of exposition here.
At the same time, this feels lazy.
Yeah, it so does. It is such a wild combo.
Doesn't even feel in place for the show.
Yeah, it's like, I would
feel
understand...
like certain shows could
get away with that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I would understand if it's like some straight, like, fourth wall breaking Deadpool shit. Like, I could understand them making a little tongue-in-cheek joke about that. But, like, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. That is very interesting. I guess I'll have to watch it now, because I was initially interested just because it sounded crazy. So, yeah. Sounds like it's a ride. Awesome.
It is. Oh, man, speaking of ride, y'all end up watching, fucking, RErideD, Derrida, whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh, okay. I've heard about it. This is the extent I've heard about it. What's up with it? Wait,
it's
what?
Shit. Don't bother with it.
Okay.
It's supposed to be about some time travel tech stuff in another like weird future, old school Victorian style that is very hyper future realistic.
Interesting.
And
I just zoned out while you were talking about that. So okay.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about a scientist named Derrida, and his researcher friend. I think like Patrick or Peter or something. I don't know. It doesn't
the
matter.
most courageous of names.
Yeah, Patrick and Veer, who has a young daughter named Mage.
That's a horrible name.
It is, and she's like 8, but like super wicked smart. And there's this weird dynamic and like chemistry between her and Derrida, who is like either in his late 20s or early 30s, and I hate it a lot. It's kind of the worst, and I think he wants to fuck the girl, and it's very bad. But Derrida's dad made robots, and they do stuff around the city. They've taken over a lot of standard like manual labor positions. There's some conspiracy that they're going to be used in like warfare.
You to go with that, but okay.
Yeah, I didn't suddenly expect us to be in the backstory to the first 3 Mega Man games.
Right, I mean essentially, and Derrida and his buddy found like some bug in the program. It was like, hey, if all these things get a same order at the same time, they'll go like berserk. And they bring it to the robot manufacturer, and he's like, fuck off. Just how about you fuck off?
Okay.
And they're, of course, like, why? What's up? What's wrong with you? And then, of course, they're actually being sent off to war. And some bad shit happens, and Derrida gets put in, like, frozen cryostasis for a couple decades. It's just really trying to be smart. It really wants to be smart and deep and about something, and it's not.
Huh.
It feels like a visual novel, I think. A really bad one.
Are you saying something bad about visual novels?
Man, listen to me. I've had my share of bad visual novels, okay?
Okay, I'll believe you. I've only played good ones, so...
Congrats.
Yeah.
You're one of the lucky ones.
I feel like you told me 3 different plots, but then like stuck them all together.
Yeah, that's the first episode.
Oh my gosh.
I hate shows like that. Honestly,
it's pretty solidly trash, and I don't even recommend watching the first episode of this one because it just kind of made me mad. God,
it's Derrida. It's like if you go to any chart, it's like all the way in the OVA section.
Oh.
Since we were just talking about OVAs a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, it's technically in the OVA section?
It's in the OVA section, but I mean.
Oh yeah, you're right. There it is. Yeah.
I had to. That's what I was about to ask you. I was like, I don't even see it on here.
Yeah, I was like, I
down
cannot find this.
It was all the way at the bottom.
Yep, but I mean, it's a single core of full-length stuff, which is weird that it's considered an OVA in that sense.
Single core of garbage. Do.
Yep. I mean, like, okay. Yeah, this could be up some folks' alley, but man, it's not good. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty objectively just not good.
Considering I haven't heard anything about it, and the only one comment I heard was like, "This is not good," and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, that's not good then."
Yeah, consider this like my seasonal warning of like the show to stay away from. I haven't got to watch a 3D CG show this season yet, but I'm gonna find it.
Oh my good boy, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we need the.
I'm gonna get that hard hitting journalism, you guys.
Sometimes you find some like true gems, man.
Gems in the term of like definitely things that I would have never expected, and also of just gems of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Or a 3D CG show about gems.
Yeah, I guess also that. That happened one time.
Well, all right. I guess I know of a few things that I was glad I did not pick up.
Oh, come on. I'm still a little interested in Conception. Just a little bit.
You can tell me how it is. Like, show me a couple of clips. I think I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you want the big anime titty, it's got it. But
okay, well, that's not
like,
really what I was going in there for.
I expect better of you guys at this point.
Okay, Ramen from GTA 4. No, yeah. I don't know. I haven't really seen. I didn't watch a lot this season. There wasn't really one that I thought was like genuine shit that I actually sat down to watch.
Well, that's good.
Well, isn't that good?
I would hope so. Yeah. I would probably say, did you? Because Zach, I felt like you might have been able to enjoy this. Did you actually sit down and watch Zombieland Saga?
Man, that is one of the few shows that I definitely wanted to watch, but I did not get time to do it.
I just want to point out that earlier, before Kyle mentioned it, I also mentioned it to Zach, and he said he would hard pass. That is totally what you said.
Really?
It is, because, like, again, you didn't tell me much about it at all. You just said...
I didn't know anything about it.
Right, and so... From just like looking at it, and I read the synopsis, it seemed like, oh, this is going to be some hot steaming garbage. But then Kyle told me a brief description about it, and I saw a clip of it on like Crunchyroll's Twitter.
Did you see the same clip? A
cute little zombie girl rap battle.
Yes.
And I was pretty sold at that point.
I love, by the way, that clip has been reused multiple times to do like Eminem versus somebody else in a rap battle and shit like that, and it's fucking hilarious. I love it so much. I legitimately was actually going to pass on this. The only reason why I even picked it up in the first place was because of that clip that Crunchyroll shared, which good advertising on their part.
You can watch this at crunchyroll.com.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we can do that. Oh, well.
Sponsorship, please. I legit was going to pass, and I still wasn't entirely sold after watching about halfway through the first episode. And then it got to a bit of a spoiler. It got to a part at the end of the first episode in which they're doing a death metal concert, and it was fucking hilarious. It was the stupidest shit because basically the crowd was going to write them off and hate them like right off the bat, especially because they came out with like no instruments or anything. But when the music came on, most of the zombies hadn't actually gained sentience yet, and they were just zombies, and so they were just animalistically reacting to the music, and they started headbanging with their entire bodies. And it was the funniest fucking thing. And all of the people in the crowd were like, that's fucking metal. And then just like loved them afterwards.
Man.
And then one of the zombies got loose and started attacking the crowd. And you would think, oh, okay, there's going to be like a huge zombie thing. No, they thought she started a mosh pit. And so they just start rioting. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. It was perfect. And that continued on to the second episode, because it seems like so far, I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but it seems like what they're kind of going for is that they're using a very weird formula mixed with this idea of of an idol show, but each episode they're kind of tongue-in-cheek parodying a type of genre of music, which that's like right up my alley. Because in the rap episode where that clip comes from, earlier on in the episode they get accosted by some people that are like trying to do some sick beats and pick up chicks, and then it became like a thing later on in which like that's how they actually managed to like connect and talk, is that they were just arguing, but it had a bit of a rhythm to it, so their producer had an idea to just beatbox over it.
Which was pretty funny. I thought the second episode was very funny.
Second episode, like, I wasn't hugely sold on the first one, but then the second one, like, very funny. Especially because the second one, most of the characters have gained sentience at this point, so they actually have personality and character to them. And it became a much better show for it.
Yeah.
I can dig that then. That definitely sounds up my alley.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I didn't dig the first episode a whole lot.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't find it that... I liked the dissonance between, like, the fact that it was, like, trying to be, like, horrific, but also at the same time, like, not. It was supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
So the dissonance there was very jarring at first, but I mean they made it work, which I think is pretty impressive in its own way. And yeah, the second episode was definitely a lot better. I felt like they hit stride there.
Yeah.
With what they were going for.
I will say I'm sorry to talk over you. I will say the first episode, the reason why I stuck with it for the whole episode is mostly down to the fact that while I wasn't like super into it at first, the comedic timing for it was very good for every single one of their jokes. Like they would do a natural kind of thing where like she's having a conversation with the guy who basically kidnaps all of them and forces them to be idols, which I'm not entirely sold on just yet. But she's having a conversation with him and then just naturally goes, okay, I really don't see what that has to do with anything. And by the way, why is this girl chewing on my arm? And she just like lifts up her arm and there's just a girl there that you didn't even see. And it's just a lot of like natural comedic timing moments like that I like really enjoyed.
I can really appreciate that. I know it's definitely hard, especially these days, to get a comedy anime that's like not just very derivative in how it gives off its jokes and comedic timing, so I can definitely appreciate that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has its own personality.
Which I'm appreciating a lot right now.
Cool. I'll definitely be taking a look at that then.
Yeah.
But I mean, minus that though, like I thought the show was interesting. The rap battle, like you said, very good.
Pinnacle of the show so far. Haven't seen the third episode yet, but
is there a third episode out? I don't know. I was just watching this.
Yes,
yeah,
there is.
it released.
Must just came out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What you were talking about the genres and stuff. Yeah. Someone said that this is kind of like the Samurai Flamenco of idol shows. So I think they posed the question: is this the Samurai Flamenco of idol shows?
That's kind
It is too early to tell.
That is kind of a haughty thing to say. That's like, it's like, is this the Citizen Kane of gaming? Like, whenever somebody says something like that, I'm just like, come on, man.
I mean, I don't think they were serious,
Yeah.
but I think it was a joke about the level of batshit craziness that has already happened.
Yeah,
and made it work somehow.
I was sad that I had the intro ruined for me, because how they do the opening credits was very funny. And you don't necessarily, like, you can kind of tell that it's coming, but how brutal it is pretty interesting. Like, right off the bat, they, like, immediately tell you, this is the comedic tone we're going for.
Yeah. Although I don't know. So, when I first watched the show, I kind of knew the premise, because I saw a clip, I think, that spoiled it for me. But,
yeah. I saw a clip of it that was a combination of that opening, and then all of a sudden it cuts to who was in the car, and it was like Dio and somebody else, and they were going to get McDonald's. And it was very funny.
Yeah, I think that's actually what I saw.
Oh, yeah?
But minus that, like, I noticed that after the first scene, I was like, okay, well, this is an interesting show. And I use the word interesting, and not in like, oh, I'm actually interested. I use it as in, well, this is gonna be something.
Yeah, it's flavor text. Interesting.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
Didn't really know what to expect. As I said after first episode, I wasn't feeling it largely. I was like, this is okay. I can get into this, and then...
Yeah, I won't say that even after watching the second episode, which I did enjoy a lot more than the first episode, I still won't say that this is, like, Hanamatsuri levels of, like, I'm legitimately, my sides are hurting, and this is great. But they're doing a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm. What could really top Hanamatsuri, though? Like, good God.
Isn't it Hinamatsuri?
It's Hinamatsuri. I think I might have said it wrong.
I think you both said it wrong.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said Hanamatsuri or Hanamitsuri or something. I don't even know.
I mean, I would argue Nichijou, but at the same time, I don't want to compare Hinamatsuri and Nichijou. They're both funny for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, no, that's all I wanted to say on Zombieland. It's one to give a shot, I think.
Matt,
yeah.
I'm curious. You said you watched like 5 shows.
Yeah.
And so we have Zombieland Saga.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell else did you watch from this season?
Okay, so are you ready for this shit?
Oh boy.
Oh God. All right.
Okay. So, hold on. Yeah, I definitely watched 5 shows. I had to actually double check. You made me question myself.
No, yeah, I'm not lying to you. What are you talking about?
So, I guess if we want to... Okay, let's get this out of the way. So, interestingly enough, since we were talking about conception earlier...
Oh boy.
Bobda made a comment. Bobda made a comment on Twitter that was kind of relevant. He said, "Wow, I cannot believe the Little Sister light novel show is somehow worse than the fetishy pregnant show."
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, what the fuck do you expect?
So,
it's an Imouto light novel show.
Story time.
It's Arrow manga too.
Okay. Let me tell you a story.
Alright.
So, I saw this comment. And, of course, my immediate reaction is like, okay. Like, I don't know what the immediate reaction would be. Don't watch the Little Sister light novel show?
Mm-hmm.
My immediate reaction was, okay, time to check out this piece of trash. And honestly, I wish I could say that I wish I had a different take than Bob does on it, but I don't.
Well, you always wish for the best, don't you? Like,
yeah, like I mean, yeah, I went into the show thinking, oh, this is gonna be garbage, but I was like, well, maybe it's tolerable. And then, like, I mean, come on, like, we watched Arrow manga, like, it wasn't like atrocious. There were parts of it that were like really bad.
We watched the same show.
Okay, look. we talked about it, you know? Like, we admitted that some parts of it were not horrible.
Man,
Correct.
I would even argue that
moments.
like the anime was worse than the manga, as far as
like
really, really. Anyways,
yeah, we have another podcast on it. Go back and listen to that.
Yeah. So I was thinking like maybe that level of garbage, but I think we just went like somehow we went Emo and then Manga, and somehow we got this, except this is like if you've ever seen like those power like tiers where they do like the little arrows and they do like the greater than symbols.
Yes.
Yeah, this one's got like probably like 10 after Manga in the line. So anyway, let me talk a little bit about this. The plot is exactly what you'd expect it to be, but also it frames itself as like this and I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with for about this for people that kind of like this kind of material, but it's kind of fan servicey in a really bad way. It's got like really cheesy censors. Also, like it's kind of just blatantly there, and I'm like, okay, question mark. Yeah,
they're trying to make you real horny for this brother and sister duo.
So the anime kind of starts out as it starts out as the main character goes down, eats dinner with his sister, and they're talking about something. The conversation feels scripted. I mean, I know every show is scripted, but like this one just felt like there was no personality between these characters. It kind of just felt like, okay, let's get this out of the way. And that's kind of the way I felt like it was being written for like the first half of the show. Was that they were like trying to hit all the beats, but they were like, oh yeah, so we got to frame this as a little sister show. And then we also got to make sure that we get our appeal to people that may not like little sister shows in there. And so they were not doing it like full blown with personality. It was like some guy was writing it and he was like tired and he's just like, ugh, I don't want to do this. Let's get to the good part. And
like they made everything a placeholder. It's like, we'll come back and flesh this out later.
Well, not even that. It just felt like so lacking personality.
Like the dude just phoned it in and just like wrote the plot points.
Yeah. He's like, okay, gotta hit the plot points, bullet points, let's go. Okay, let's get to the good part. And that's what the first half of the show felt like. And the premise is basically like main character's light novel author submits light novels, can't get them submitted, or can't win anything. Little sister submits one, he doesn't know it. She wins. They have a discussion about it later in the episode. He has some kind of friend at school, which, by the way, there was this scene that had to do, like, they were just talking about, like, light novels in general, and, like, going back to my point about fan service, like, she totally just leans over and her nipples are exposed, like, it just in the middle of school, like, I was very confused. I was like, why are we doing this?
Are we
like? No.
I was just
are we
so
like
confused.
like legit uncensored kind of bullshit?
No, I mean it was censored, but it's got like this tacky like blue censor. It's like it's one of those shows with like the really tacky censors.
Like a weird like across the screen blue bar thing.
No, like it's like an emblem. That's just overlaid on the show. Like, haha.
Okay.
Blu-rays.
Okay.
To see these.
I thought you were talking about some like straight like Devilman Crybaby, like we're not gonna censor this thing, and I was like, that's really not what we need for this show.
No, and I mean the whole episode plays out like you'd expect it to be. It's just like, also I want to point out the animation is already falling apart.
Oh boy.
Its budget's already dying.
Yeah, on episode 2, it kind of looks like the characters' faces are melting.
Oh Christ!
Like, let me see if I can find a picture in a little bit. But,
this is only acceptable if the following episode shows that the entire thing is self-aware and realizes that it's a shitty animation and suddenly becomes a better thing that has a completely different plot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
What is this, anime Godderies?
I mean, if it does an anime Godderies, I will call this show the greatest show ever made.
I don't know if it has, and this is no offense to anybody, but I don't think it has the what's the word? The writing potential. I'm
not gonna lie, Matt.
I don't think it has that.
Your description, like your synopsis of the show, Zach, I think you're pretty much dead on. It's just Aramaga Sensei 2 Oremo Boogaloo. Like, it sounds just exactly like they like looked at what Aramaga did and they're like, yeah, we'll phone it in. People will buy it.
Again, like we've said this time and again that
I don't think people will buy
that
it.
Mal ratings are not a metric for whether or not a show is actually good. But if this show has a 5.86 on Mal right now,
I mean, Aramongus at least I think has like a 7.1 or something.
Yeah, I mean, like this is not good for this show.
Hey, I will say it's not the lowest scoring thing in the season. If we're also going to look at the score on AniChart for Conception, which is at a 40. 40 out of 100.
Yeah, listen to me, man. I told you it's bad. You watch the first episode and then you get out.
But see, that's the difference between these shows. One of them is bad but interesting, and one of them is just bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the difference between, like, I don't know, like Batman and Robin bad versus like The Room, Tommy Wiseau bad. Like,
yeah, there you go. But
okay,
anyway, my point was don't watch it. Please steer away from that unless you're just like, I don't know, masochistic.
Man, apparently there's a lot of things to just not watch this season.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, do we have any more cautionary tales for the season so far?
I mean, I wrote a post about one.
Oh, we're gonna talk. Okay, let's talk about Goblin Slayer, I guess.
I haven't watched it.
I mean, okay, so
I haven't watched it.
I'll let Kyle go first.
Well, Matt, you and I did some research into the source material, and we were not happy.
Well,
and granted, that's not to say anything about the anime. The anime could just straight up not even adapt most of the shit. That being said, everything that I have heard about the anime seems like they are, and that kind of makes me upset.
Okay, I'm gonna let you talk first, because I have some things to add, so go for it.
And this is, for anybody listening, this is a completely ignorant, like, viewpoint on this show, because I haven't watched it. In fact, I've kind of been, like, hesitant to even, like, get started watching it. But from everything that I have seen, as far as clips, inserts from the manga, and then, like, paragraphs from the actual light novel, this show is like, just rape fetish fantasy. It's just, instead of making it a hentai like they usually do for this kind of stuff, they made it an anime. But here's the thing, is that it seems that while it is absolutely in love with having not only rape scenes, but then callbacks to those rape scenes where they then just show the rape scene again, it seems like it's trying to use it as a jumping off point to introduce their main character, the Goblin Slayer, which, by the way, Zach, is just Doom Slayer, except for he's, instead of killing demons, he's killing goblins. That seems to be the kind of idea behind this character, as far as I can tell, is that he was born and bred to just kill them goblins because they're evil. How are they evil? Well, here, let's show you how they raped a bunch of people, and that'll show you how really evil they are. Yeah.
So it's used to sort of be a weird kind of, this entire group is just bad, and here's our rip and tear boy to cut through the lot of them. In the article that I wrote about, there's two things that I like to consider whenever people are using rape as an element within a series. Is it fetishizing rape in itself? And then the other thing is, can this
story be told without the rape? And like it does not succeed on either one of those questions as far as what I've seen, because the manga definitely fetishizes it. I'm not sure if the anime does. And that's really fucked up. Like, that's super fucked up to begin with. But then on top of that, it's specifically just a plot point to show how evil their evil characters are, which means you could have used any other metric, like Doom shows a whole bunch of people dying, like a whole bunch of innocent people dying from demons. You're like, wow, that's really fucked up. Let's go kill these demons. And like, yeah. I mean, murder's fucked up, but like sexual torture, which is basically what rape is, that's worse. That's genuinely worse, right, in my book.
And I mean, like, I don't mean to encourage like lazy storytelling or anything, but I mean, just in the traditional canon thing, they're goblins. I mean, like, do you really need that much of a reason for people to get on board with let's like wreck these things?
Anybody that's like even heard about Lord of the Rings, they're like, orcs, goblins, they're all evil, you know, and they're bad races, and it's like and it's like, yeah, let's just go ahead and like, they're doing evil stuff, we get that.
Yeah, and I mean, again, if that's like the whole point of your piece, if you're not looking to do anything like clever about like, well, hey, but like, what if goblins are actually okay and things of that nature? Right. But this just seems like an awful excuse to get some weird kind of just awful fetishization in there. Which again, like, I'm also coming to a point where I haven't read or watched it, but I mean, everything that I've heard from it from a variety of sources pretty much tells the same story. So right. I'm not exactly jiving with its premise here.
And I've heard people in defending this stating that they basically state that it's like, well, yeah, it's a dark show all around. Like, there's a lot of death and gore and like everything like that. And it's like, yes, but I have seen several horror films that never had to include a rape scene in order to showcase, oh wow, that's the most evil thing I've ever seen. And especially for it to go for that in the first act. Like, to my knowledge, this is like one of the very first things you even see on the screen. And it's like just trying to like shock and grab you and then be like, yeah, that's real fucked up. Aren't you interested in the show? That is very exploitive in my mind. And I don't think that is the correct way to go about this. It doesn't treat like rape and sexual assault with the proper respect that it should be.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That being said, that's all I've seen as far as what I've heard, what I've researched, and looking at like different elements from the manga and the light novels that I've read. Haven't actually watched a single episode. So Matt, can you tell me anything else?
Okay, so there you guys addressed a lot. So I'm gonna start with one of the points that you guys were talking about the reason possibly behind this, the reason about like why we have to tell a story about goblins being evil. Mm-hmm. So I kind of looked at this from a different perspective of like, if you think about just an otaku culture, like not exactly like nerd culture in general, or like, you know, the Western fantasies like Lord of the Rings, and disregarded all that. I was thinking of this from the aspect of like maybe like video games, for example. When you play like a fantasy video game, the lowest level creatures are always goblins, right? Mm-hmm. So, or like something of that nature.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking if you were writing from a perspective that you were, you know, like maybe you were a gamer, or maybe you played too much RuneScape in your early days or whatever, like maybe you would be thinking that goblins are these weak creatures that literally are not evil, or in any regard, maybe not necessarily not evil, but not strong,
not dangerous.
Sure, yeah,
not dangerous. So if you think about it from that perspective, at least the premise of the story kind of makes sense, considering that a lot of fantasy shows as well frame anime in particular frame goblins as these creatures that you kill to get experience when you start out. Like that's what you do. They're not a threat.
They're pretty much non-threatening.
I mean, even Sword Art Online does that. Not with goblins in particular, but you know.
But like those beginning level monsters.
Beginning level monsters, like they're grinding points. That's what you do. So I think if you look at it from that perspective, at least the premise makes some level of sense. Just why you would write the story to begin with. Moving from that, so I full disclosure, I didn't actually watch the full episode, but I saw the clip in question, and I skimmed over the whole chapter of the light novel. And by skimmed, I mean I actually read most of it. So, which is what the first episode's based off of. To kind of, I find a couple of different things interesting about this whole conversation. One of them is the fact that if you look at Berserk, for example, it kind of does like a similar thing with the fact that it's kind of like gory and like it's in the, I guess, a fantasy-esque setting. I don't really know much about Berserk.
Yeah, it's very much it's a dark fantasy setting.
Yeah, so this kind of feels like similar in that vein. But I find it interesting as well, the fact that somehow Crunchyroll had a content warning on Berserk and even Attack on Titan, but didn't have one for this show.
I remember hearing about that.
Weird.
Yeah, because there were some people that like legit freaked.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, well that's really weird. There is one on there now, by the way.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, like, I think that might have actually, like, and obviously that's bad. Like, they should have put one on there to begin with. But second, I wonder if that's why everyone was talking about this scene. Because point number 2, what I found interesting was, and I'm going to try to say this with the most like respect as possible. Yeah. But like I don't, this is going to sound really bad when I say this, but it was definitely I'm going to call it a quote unquote rape scene. Because in the novel, basically there is no depiction of the scene at all, actually. Like, there's nothing graphic about it besides the fact that, so let me tell you about this scene progression. So basically what happens is they're in a cave and their party gets assaulted by goblins. So there's like a party of like 4 or 5 people. And pretty much it starts out with the main character. It was a dude. They didn't have names, by the way, so that's the reason why I'm not going to use their names, because they actually didn't have names. All these characters were unnamed. So there's a guy. He fought the goblins, and he just died. Like, he just straight up got murdered. And then there was a mage or something, and she got like hit with like a poison dagger or something and was writhing on the floor.
Yikes.
Yeah. And basically, I'll talk about something else in a minute that I found kind of interesting. But, and then there was like another priest girl that, I think she was just traumatized by the whole thing, so she ran away. And then there was the, like some kind of like battle fighter girl, and she got like picked up and slammed against a wall twice by a goblin. And then a whole bunch of goblins, like, this is slightly graphic, so content warning, question mark. She basically gets surrounded by goblins, and they just, it's kind of implied, like, there is, because the anime and the novel both do this. It cuts after she says, "No, please help me," after a bunch of goblins surround her. And then the priest girl has a terrible look on her face, and then she runs away. The most graphic thing that the anime had to offer was there was a goblin that, like, put his hand on her. And that was the extent of this scene.
At the same time, would you state that it is like very heavily implied?
Well, so that's kind of the interesting thing was that and that's what I was saying earlier. I'm not going to say that this wasn't rape because it definitely could have been. We don't get that sense, and the only way we actually know that, and this is why I'm calling it the quote-unquote rape scene, is because the priest character referred to it as her partner was violated, and even uses text later.
But like
that's pretty explicit.
That's violated is rape. That's what that is.
Yeah, I mean, I know that
it is at the very least, if you want to define it slightly differently, sexual assault.
But I also think that like she did. It's funny because there was a part of the novel. This is what was confusing about this. So there was this length of time where the priest girl doesn't actually see any of this happen. Like the timing, the novel's just kind of written very strangely, in the fact that like the timing was weird because she like sees this beginning to happen, but then she looks away and then runs off. And then this comes up like 6 pages later after they come all together. And I don't know. It just, like, the whole, like, the way it was written was just not very clear. But again, I'm not going to say that it was definitely obviously implied. Definitely. I'm just saying that, like, people made it sound like this was, like, some kind of, like, perfect blue, like, depiction of the rape scene, and then I watched it, and I was like, I could see where you could think this would happen, but this is not, like, graphic. Like, super, super graphic, like I was imagining it. I don't know. Like, I just read a whole bunch of articles that made it seem like that the whole thing was, like, way worse than it was. And for some people, it could have been, like, I understand that's traumatic for if anyone's ever experienced that. Like, that would definitely... There should have been the content warning, either way. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that it's not rape. I'm just saying that, holy crap, like, it kind of blew up for not much of a reason. Because, I mean, I tried to search for the scene initially, and I was looking for some kind of big hint that that's kind of what this scene was going to be about. And I read the novel, and I was like, if you read this in the novel, like, you wouldn't have... You would have questioned it at first, but you wouldn't have been like, oh, that's how bad this was, because there was just no description of it.
Well, if I remember right, in the novel itself, it states it basically... Like, it doesn't go into super detail, but it still states that, like, she was pinned and they had their way with her. Was basically, like, how it was framed.
Wasn't actually stated.
I thought that was.
No. It just said that, basically, the goblins surrounded her, and then she said, run, and the priest girl ran. That is the extent of it.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Still implied.
Yeah, I said it's not. I'm not saying that it was not a bad thing or if it was not rape. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that it's just not nearly as bad as everyone made it out to be, but it's still bad.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know if I would say that that's necessarily, like, it's not as bad as it could be, but that doesn't mean that it's not still bad.
That's what I just said, though.
But I just mean, like, the argument, like, it's not as bad as it could be. Like, I'm sure that there are some people that have brought that up, and I did see that in some of the comments, where they're like, oh, it's not as bad as it could be. I'm like, well, no. Of course it's not as bad as it could be. But that doesn't mean that we should go there, either. And I do remember, in reading comments and discussion about the light novel, they also mentioned that the Sword Maiden goes into detail later about it later on in the story about at one moment, like, this shit happens again, and like she and multiple other women get captured and tortured, and she goes into detail about the torturing that they do, which once again, more rape and sexual assault. So like, I think it very much might be a knee-jerk reaction to the anime itself depicting that with no, like, warning going in. But at the same time, I think it also caused a lot of people to be like, well, what the fuck even is this show? Look into it and be like, okay, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, and I wasn't defending the show in any regard. That was just my take on it.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry if I offended anybody, but I just...
No, I mean, that's fair. I will say, in argument to your first point, though, about goblins typically being weaker, I question that a little bit, because while that is typically true whenever you're looking at from video game logic and different things like that, goblin, like, that type of depiction of goblins as, like, these genuinely evil things is actually an entire genre of hentai. Like, it's legitimately a whole genre of these things.
I have not watched any, so
it's just something I've heard about before, and it is not cool. And yeah, I mean, it is a goblin rape genre. That's what it is. And so, like, I would agree with you on your point for the typical person that plays an RPG and knows that goblins, even in Lord of the Rings, they weren't nearly as bad as the orcs, and the Urukai. But, like, and as far as anime in general, I don't know if that entirely holds up.
Okay. I mean, I don't have any argument to that point, so... I mean, if that was just the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess, the way I kind of looked at this show was, by the way, it's not a good show. And I'd say that, like, I know I went on that whole tirade about that particular scene, but a lot of the stuff in the novel is not done in good taste. So either way, it kind of just, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So, like, even though I felt like I came off as I strongly argued that point as if I was, like, defending the novel that it was okay, which I wasn't, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to stress that. There was a lot of, like, weird cuts to stuff, like, just random character descriptions and stuff, like, that would be like, haha, jiggly breasts, and I'm like, what? Why is this in the description? Why is this here? Why are we talking about this right now?
I remember when we were researching this, I remember the manga had an issue with that. Even during some of the more violent scenes, like, for some reason, certain panels would just, like, show boobs for no reason or at all.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is weird. And I also thought the weird part was that somehow, like, the escalation of events that happened in that first episode/chapter was the fact that I feel like you should, like, maybe it's just me, but maybe you should, like, try to save your most brutal thing to happen last. Like, if you were trying to depict something, like, dark, like, to kind of, you know.
Well, what was the lead up to it? Like, how quickly into the episode did they get to that?
I mean, this is probably over halfway. Not quite 2/3, but we're looking at, like, maybe 12 to 16 minutes. The 12-16 minute mark.
Yeah, I would say usually you either hit them out of the gate with something to, like, shock them, or you, like, save it to the end so that they're interested in watching the next episode. If you're going to talk about, like, violence like that. Yeah,
and, like, if you just think that, like, the structure was already kind of weird. Also, I like how I just think it's interesting that if I don't know, like, because that whole scene ended with someone, like, basically having to be, like, assisted suicide, like, because they were getting poisoned. And I was just thinking, like, so wait a minute, so the progression here was somebody dies, or no, somebody gets wounded, somebody dies, someone gets raped, and then someone had to be assisted suicided. Like, so that's the progression of brutality. Like, I don't know. Like, I just felt like it was just...
That seems extremely exploitive.
Yeah, it was just weird. Like, I mean, I just read it and I was like, what? Like, I don't know. by the way, I'm not a fan of these types of shows anyway. I wouldn't honestly, if it wasn't for the discussion, I would not have touched this show because it's just not even within the realm of what I care about.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a double hitter for you, is that you don't typically like fantasy shows, and then on top of that, it's a violent fantasy show.
Yeah,
which is not your usual forte.
Not really into that. So yeah. But that's Goblin Slayer though. I can't recommend the show, so it's just not really worth it. I guess if people like that stuff, I mean, I guess they can watch it. I mean, I guess I can't stop them. So, it's not like I think of them lesser of a person if they watch it. So, it's just what they like.
I have no idea where to go from here. I'm just mad and I want to come down from that.
Well, I watched Jingai-san no Yome. It's a little 3-minute bump anime about a high school student named Tomari who becomes the wife of a fluffy monster.
What?
And it's very cute and wholesome.
What? What's this called?
No. Please tell me more about this.
Our boy Tomari gets to school one day and is called to the academic advisor's office, and he's told that, congratulations, you are the wife of Kananogi, who is a very large, sentient, fluffy monster. He can't speak, but he does glomp Tomari's head a lot, and he's very fluffy. And it's very cute and really soft and super wholesome, and it's very good.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I see it.
Matt's freaking out. I'm like totally in.
I see it now. This looks like something I don't care about, but okay.
Oh.
Okay, but listen, each episode is really like a minute and a half because half the episode is its intro/outro.
Okay, so this is one of those shows. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Man,
cool.
I hate when TV shorts do that though, because I'm like, oh come on, you can do more. I got faith.
It's very, very cute. I'm pretty sure it's a 4-coma adaptation. It's very cute and wholesome.
Wow.
I'm here for it. I don't really have a lot to say about it aside from it looks real cute and wholesome, and it's a lot of fun, and it makes me real warm and fuzzy.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna sit down and watch this.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth it.
I
need
Kyle
really
at
genuinely
3
is.
minutes.
I needed something wholesome.
Yeah. Speaking of something wholesome, Skullface bookseller Honda-san.
Best show.
Yeah,
What?
I mean, it's seriously Skullface bookseller Honda-san.
Oh, I see it now. I mean, I don't know how I didn't see it before.
I've watched the first 2 episodes that are out.
Yep, me too.
And wow, having worked in a bookstore before, I related a lot to a good bit of these things.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you did.
Yep. But God, it's just fun. It's such a wild, great, diverse cast of characters. Just having like a skeleton boy and a bunch of other like monsters and masked folks working at a bookstore.
I also
that just sells manga.
I really enjoy that they never draw attention to the fact that they are all like various forms of monsters and masked individuals. It's just an aspect of their personality, and nobody cares.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of extends to a lot of the customers as well.
Yeah.
Like they mention, for example, like there's a lot of foreign folks here to like visit Japan and get authentic, boys love manga and things of that nature. But it's never drawn attention like, check out this one specific, person. Like it's a very diverse cast of foreign visitors and such.
None
but
of them
again,
felt
that's never addressed.
stereotyped.
No, that was really nice. Like they were able to work with just such a wide array of characters, major and minor, and not make anything feel like trite or overused or like kind of smarmy in a way.
And I liked, like you said, that they were diverse, even the foreigners. Like there was, like, because they're not all blonde hair, blue eyes, white people. There was like an elderly gentleman that was like graying silver hair, and then there was like a younger girl that was like a little bit tan. She looked kind of like Hispanic Latino. And then there was like a black woman at one point that walked in, and she was like just a really nice customer, and I think she was one of the few foreigners that actually knew a little bit of Japanese.
I think so. That makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. The comedic pacing and timing of the show is wonderful. But it's also definitely very informative too, because I think, Kyle, you mentioned like in the Slack chat, and it mentions it in the second episode, that it's very much the manga is based off the experiences of the author's experiences being a bookseller.
Yeah, it's based off of a true story in a way, in a sense.
So it is neat in a way getting to see a version of the kind of behind the scenes of a bookstore in Japan and how these things work. So it's fun in that sense to kind of like get a what goes on past the curtain kind of deal. But it's just it's fun. It's a great cast of characters that have very good chemistry together. I don't know, it's difficult to describe it in any way except it's just genuinely a fun show to watch.
Yeah, it's fun and informative. Like I didn't realize until they made a joke about it where everybody tries to pick up the box of foreign comics, and like they just like everyone breaks their back. I didn't realize, because like I've helped my dad, who has a massive comic book collection, move. It was like 120 boxes of comics that he's had ever since the 60s or something like that, because he was moving house. Paper is fucking heavy. Like, it's genuinely heavy when you get that much of it. I thought it was interesting that the joke about that is just that apparently, like, it's just very uncommon. It's like a cultural difference where like a lot of manga is like much cheaper material, lighter. It's not necessarily made to hold up, whereas a lot of the American made comic books are like much heavier paper. They're actually graphic novels. They're made to like withstand a little bit and last a while because they're usually collector's items. I also think that's really funny. I didn't know about that.
So yeah, I don't know. Like it has been a very surprising contender for like maybe my favorite thing I've watched so far. With the only thing, like there's one show that I've watched so far that would contend with it.
Ooh, what is it?
SSSS.Gridman.
I was hoping you would talk about this soon.
Oh god, dude.
Okay,
I want to watch SSS.Gridman.
I've only seen the first episode.
Same.
But there's two things that stuck out to me. One, it's very trigger, and I mean that in the most positive of ways. Just the way that they decide to do things in the show, as well as honestly a little bit of the art style reminded me of that one anime that I adapted forever ago, where magical powers are commonplace.
Battle.
Yeah, Battle. The art style kind of reminded me a little bit of that, but with some sharper elements from Kisniver, like blended into some of the characters and their designs.
I was getting a lot of Kisniver vibes from it.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that, yeah.
But
and just the way that they decide to animate things, like they had one part where very, very early, it's like the second scene, where there's kind of an argument discussion going on between the main lead and the main girl and the main guy, because the guy just can't remember shit.
I was hoping you were going to mention that specific scene, actually.
Because like Trigger loves to do these kind of things that everybody else wouldn't do, because they're like, nah, that looks cheap and it looks like we're cutting animation. But honestly, I liked it, because it's just, instead of like, because they're just standing there, like the frame of the shot is at their center frame, and the camera doesn't move and it doesn't cut to each character's face. Instead of doing it that way, what they did is they decided to animate it so that each time that a character talks, like it goes through their full conversation and they move and they articulate, but then whenever the following person is going to say something, because they kind of talk over each other, the animation cuts. So it's like one person will be talking cut, and then the other person talks over them, and then cut, the other person talks over them.
If you've ever seen like Kill la Kill, in the way that some of their animations are very like janky and
intentionally
very
janky.
direct and specific, yes. It is very much a stylistic choice, so yeah, it feels very Trigger in that way.
It looked good too. Like I know that some people will be like, they just didn't want to animate the whole thing, but honestly, like as an artistic choice, it looked good and it added a little bit of its own style to the show.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like I would say if this was like the first time it was ever done in a show that Trigger's produced, you know, I'd say that's weird, but considering it is a consistent thing and a way in which they actually work this out, it has to be intentional at this point for actually a stylistic reason.
Yeah, I feel like they just kind of fell in love with doing that from Inferno Cop and Ninja Slayer, because they then continued that in like Kill la Kill, and then there was a couple of other shows. Inoue Battle did that in like one or two scenes, where they just intentionally make it janky, and it like adds to the humor of the scene.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't have a ton to say about it. You know, it's a very pretty show. It is very much in Trigger's kind of stylistic wheelhouse. I dig it quite a bit. It is very fun for me to get to see like a Super Sentai kaiju fighting show.
Yes.
I mean, like, you know, kids are like, I mean, our boy Yuta gets like straight up Digimoned into a PC and fuses with a robot that tells him he has a mission to do, and fights this wild looking kaiju that some shadowy figure has like been making out of clay or something that becomes real.
And I want to point out about that scene where they fight, I fucking love how they animated that. Like, it's all done kind of 3D with like a 2D masking over it. But the way that the kaiju specifically moves is exactly how a person in a costume would move from an old school Godzilla movie. I love that callback that they do to like old school monster films. Instead of making it feel a little bit more natural or a little bit more realistic in a movement as an animal, they make it feel like it's just a dude in a suit, which then kind of feeds into this idea that they're not real whenever you see the clay thing as it's forming, and then later on whenever he like rips it apart and you see that it's kind of like robotic inside.
And it still even feeds into the kind of illusion there, because like, I mean, we see like schools getting straight up nuked by fireballs, like this city is in tatters, and spoiler alert, a conceit of the show seems to be that, you know, we get to the end of the first episode and it's like they're in a time loop. Our three main characters, you know, Yuta, Rika, and Sho, all work together with Gridman to take this kaiju down, and they're like, well, shit, everything is wrecked. But they get to their school the next morning and everything is fine. So I assume there's some degree of a weird creation or time loop sort of thing, or like I don't know, because it's kind of like, you know, if you would go to like a Super Sentai or like kaiju fighting show, where, you know, you see everything is destroyed, but it's very clearly just a play.
Yeah, in some ways. It reminded me a lot of like, like in any like old school kaiju thing, like all of a sudden, like the very next episode, the city's rebuilt somehow magically. There's no issue with it. In that same way, it's kind of like old school The A-Team, where like the whole fucking city would explode, but in the next episode, they're going to save the city again. You're like, what?
Yeah. So essentially, like, I'm very excited to see how it is going to play on and mess with a lot of these old school tropes that a lot of those kind of older mayhem based shows worked with.
Especially because it's very
fun so
self-aware far. About it. At least so far. And I also like that, like, it's kind of tried at this point that like a character would have amnesia. But at the same time, it's like while he has amnesia, everybody around him has only known him for like a couple months in the first place.
Right, yeah, like our main protagonist is a transfer student because of course he is,
Yeah.
and he gets amnesia because of course he does.
But
And
at
it
the
seems
same
like
time,
the main conceit
Yeah.
is that Gridman wants him to, like, you got to remember who you are, my dude, because if you don't, this world's going to go up in flames. But yeah, as you say, like, he was kind of a loner. He had some, like, few folks that he would call friends, but yeah, it's like he hasn't known them long enough, so it's kind of like, okay, well, let's just start from scratch, I guess.
and I like how the story treats that, in that, like, not just with the main character, but like tonally and plot wise throughout the story, there's a lot of like mystery of like what in the fuck is even happening, because like there's a ton of stuff that he sees that no one else can see. There's multiple instances of like some weird thing going on that like just isn't explained, and the characters pick up on it and they're confused about it as well. And so like it kind of seems like this unraveling mystery of like what even is this world that these characters are suddenly find themselves in.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, beyond that, I don't have a lot more to say about it, just
No.
because I don't have much experience beyond the first episode.
Yeah.
But it very much seems like Trigger's trying to do a very interesting deconstruction of these kind of kaiju battle shows, in a way. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here.
It
Yeah.
looks like that it definitely is evolved. It is involved. Wrong word. It's something with tokusatsu. It's like a. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. It's a special effects live action Japanese like film style.
Well, yeah, like tokusatsu is stuff like, you know, Super
Oh.
Sentai, like Power Rangers,
Yeah.
things like that, or Ultraman. Or
Yeah.
Godzilla.
I think like it initially got started with like Godzilla way back in the day in like the 40s, 50s.
Yeah. So this is it's I'm reading a director interview. That's what I'm actually reading right now.
Okay.
So
Oh, nice.
so yeah, they're talking about how they're kind of trying to make this anime like work with that. So
Yep. I mean, I guess that kind of just goes with everything that we were saying so far.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah.
that wasn't
you
really
for
new
that
information.
interview.
That was just addendum to what you were saying.
No. Yeah, but no, it's nice to know that that is like a very specific directorial thing, and we're not just like kind of.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that confirmed, because like, gosh, I just loved the way that monster moved, and like just how very man in a suit it was. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2D and 3D animation played a part. Here's a quote. They're talking about modernizing Gridman in terms of animation. We're using 3D CG to add depths to the character animation. So they're using a lot of 3D, I guess, to help with that. Since it looks like they said in 2D it's hard to give the characters depth and weight, so we're doing it with 3D as well.
And it doesn't look bad to me, especially because pretty much primarily the 3D is used for the monster fight. And so like it already does feel kind of like this is like a sudden shift and change, and the normal world going around them are these kaiju and like giant hero robots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, basically the rest of the interview just talks about how it's Trigger style and how they're going to have some references to the original Gridman. Like I guess that's a film. Like they said, it's not going. It's going to.
It was an older series.
They say it's going to pique interest overseas. Some Easter eggs, apparently.
There's actually a surprising like huge culture of people that are like just in love with like old school kaiju Godzilla films in Western culture. So
yeah, well, that and Super Sentai stuff.
Yes,
I mean, like
yes.
my brother's obsessed with Kamen Rider.
Dude,
instance,
yeah, it was funny. The Marshall Anime Club that I joined it for like my first year at Marshall. Like that was like one of the first things we watched before we watched any anime. Was like the guy that was the president of that club was like, I love Super Sentai and you should too. It just like showed us a bunch of shit. It was cool though. Like he explained it and the history about it, and I thought it was interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so
yeah, no.
they took some of those considerations into it. Apparently, though, that a lot of the animators have just are not interested in that at all. So that's kind of interesting.
What a
They're
shame.
Like, yeah. As someone says, is Tokusatsu popular at Trigger? And then they both say that no, there's not really a lot of fans of them here at all, really.
Well, maybe look at some new ones.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
I'd hate to see people that like aren't interested in their work.
just a little snippet that was interesting. Yeah. No, I definitely want to watch it. So I was gonna actually watch it tonight, but well, things happen.
Yeah.
So,
for you, it's definitely at least worth a watch.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch it.
I'm interested, Matt, in a comparison once you get into it, because the ideas of like its kind of like tone and style and the idea of its deconstruction reminded me a little bit of like the quiet, calm tone and style of the Bunny anime.
Okay.
The Seishun Buta Yarou.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, I just wanted to say like it reminded me at least the first episode, and it's kind of like calm, slow build up to this. Thing.
And I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
But that's about all I got for Gridman, and actually that's about all I had time to watch in total.
Oh, really?
I've been kind of inundated in work, regrettably. But
I mean that's fine.
Yeah, I mean you can't watch everything.
I mean I'd like to, but hey.
Like, I mean, I spent some time watching this double-decker, like, Doug and Kirill show, which is basically, like, the Black Clover of, like, crime gang shows.
Did you say Doug?
Doug, yeah. Dougu.
Stop.
Can I mute him?
But imagine if they made an anime.
Yeah, double-decker Doug and Skeeter.
Oh, my God. Okay. Anyway... This anime was basically, it kind of just felt like a crime show, like normally. There's not much to say about it. But it also had, like, bits of, like, comedic animation thrown into it. I don't know. The reason I compared it to Black Clover real quick was that it kind of had, like, those sorts of, like, weird, quirky, like, comedic animation, and I was like, this is a crime show. It's supposed to be a little bit serious, right? Which it mostly is, but then it's like, aha, chibi animation, bam.
You know, that sounds a lot like actually Hellsing.
Oh, well.
In a lot of ways.
Which is always surprising whenever I think back on that kind of thing, because, like, Hellsing was not the happiest of shows.
Well, yeah, like specifically Hellsing Ultimate, because like it's very much a very campy, super gory show, but then it does have like these really like weird, cutesy, chibi animations. So that's fascinating. So it kind of tries to play it straight, but it also has like elements of like some weird, goofy, like almost shonen-esque comedic tones.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what this show's like too. It's just
interesting.
It's just enough that I'm like, oh, it's a little different. Like, it's not really my thing, but I guess, yeah, I could see this as pretty appealing.
I don't know. I mean, it's just like I watched the preview for it, and I read synopses for it, and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't really know if I'm feeling it. And I saw it was like produced by like Studio Sunrise, and I'm like, okay, well, all right. I don't have anything against Sunrise because they put out some good stuff, but also they put out some fairly generic, really safe stuff that doesn't like really do anything for me. So
that's fair.
It kind of earned I don't really care that much.
I mean, yeah, it's not like you're not missing anything if you miss it. If you watch it and like it, then yeah, obviously it's good. But you know, it's just I wouldn't even say to go watch it, because if you don't like that kind of thing, then yeah, it is exactly what it says on the tin. That's what it is.
I will say this. the character designs are wonderful, and I love how most of the cast is like insanely flamboyant. Like, first day on the force, they're like, you're gonna need a uniform. They're like, don't we just wear the badge in blue? And they're like, no, we're going shopping. Like, that's what it looks like to me.
There was almost a scene like that in the anime.
That's excellent.
Yeah. And they were giving each other nicknames too, which I thought was funny.
Gosh, what is this, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the anime?
They were like, the guy that was in charge of the academy, he's like, we need a name for you. Newbie. That's your name. That's your task name. And he's like, what?
Alright.
He's like, you're being paired with veteran. And I was thinking, I see how the naming conventions work around here. I'm like, this is alright. So if someone took naming lessons from me. Okay.
As long as it's very aware of itself in doing it.
Oh, it is. It is very, very silly.
Okay.
It's just, it was just, that's just how this anime is. It's just kind of goofy. A goofy, fun crime show.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as long as it knows what it is and that's what you like, then go for it.
Yeah, but as I said, it's exactly what it is on the tin. I mean, you should know what you're getting when you get a show called Doug and Kirill. Let's be honest.
Would you have thought the same thing about, like, Flip Flappers if it was named Doug and Kirill?
Yeah. I'd be like, what?
Alright, but, like, Flip Flappers is, like, almost... It's so close to almost being named Flip Flops, and I feel like that would have been just as good of a name for that.
I feel like people then would have cashed in on the fact and been like, hey, this anime is a Flip Flop, hey!
Yeah, it would have been an awful season to be on Andy Twitter.
Considering that some people do not like Flip Flappers.
But... I don't know why, that's a great show.
They didn't like the last little bit. We talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What else have we watched, y'all? I know you watched the Bunny show, man.
Yeah, I want to save that for last because I got words.
I will talk about. Did either of you give any interest in the Fave Yuri show of the season, Bloom Into You?
I mean, I'm interested.
Again, no, I heard someone talk about the manga about an hour before we got on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm actually currently keeping up with the manga.
Yeah, that's what this person was saying. They were talking just kind of vaguely about it.
I enjoy the story because it's different in that it's a romance between it's an atypical romance. For one thing, it's like you have an asexual individual that is in a romantic relationship. And so far in the anime, they're doing an okay job representing that. I'm not an expert on asexuality, but as far as what I can tell, it's like they miss a couple of times, but for the most part, they're on the mark, which, well, typical for most anime when it comes to representation. But yeah, it's very interesting in that way because like one character is just genuinely incapable of feeling that like immense romantic love to the other person. I would say that they're specifically aromantic, and so like I find that very interesting, and especially in the manga going forward, and the way that it actually formulates around like their relationship. On top of that, it's also interesting to see that like because of that, you have this person that's like almost sort of I won't say forcing them because like it's very consensual in everything that they do, but you have this one person that's kind of using them for having their first experience in a lesbian relationship, because they feel safe in that situation, that this person will not take advantage of them, will not do something that they do not want to happen. And so it's treating it in a very interesting way that I just haven't seen in a lot of romantic relationships, not even in a lot of Yuri romances. And I like that. The story is pretty good. The manga is very witty with its dialogue. I don't know if they'll do the same thing for the actual anime. I will say tonally, it is interesting that they're like, occasionally they kind of match the tone that I at least felt while I was reading the manga, where it's a little bit more dreary and darker. But there are other moments in the anime in which I feel like they are pushing that real hard, like typical, like the lighting's amazing and beautiful, and suddenly the wind catches in the skirt and like the ruffs of the shoulder in their school uniform, and like the hair is like blowing gently in the wind. And I'm like, that's fair, it's a romance. And there are dramatic moments like that where that fits. It's just sometimes I get nervous about that there may, if they push that too hard, there may be a dissonance in tone between like this romantic relationship that is very trying between these two individuals, and the like, oh look, but it's romantic kind of feeling.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
I'm enjoying it so far. I would recommend it to somebody that wants something that's a little bit atypical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I heard good things about it, so
checking it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's also, I think Zeria on YouTube did a video on the show, and if I remember right, she commented that it is, I think, currently the best-selling Yuri manga in Japan.
I believe it.
Which is surprising. But I mean, so far as I've read the manga, I think that's cool. It's also very cool that it's getting an adaptation. It's also very cool that it's not nearly as problematic as the last Yuri anime that we got.
Oh, well, I mean, fruit.
Fruit.
Just fruit.
Just
yes,
fruit.
That great callback to fruit.
Yeah.
The anime. I love it.
Something about lemons, oranges.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I had to say about that. I've only seen one episode so far, so we'll see going forward if it's a good adaptation. It's pretty true so far. I will say, one last thing I just remembered. It's interesting in the show that there's multiple scenes that they actually show from the main character's perspective, like literally a first-person perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just saying that like it like shows them staring at somebody else's face. Like there are even moments in which like they're walking down the hall and you have this weird, interesting, like everything's 2D, but they're 3-dimensionally moving through the art.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks really interesting. It doesn't look bad at all. It actually looks really interesting. And I thought that was kind of neat to show like the kind of isolation that this character feels and like some of the emotions that they're going through, because it's literally happening to you at that point. Yeah, I just forgot about that and I wanted to add that last point.
Yeah,
I'm good now.
Oh, I mean, I was gonna actually watch it. It was on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I was genuinely interested in it. So
yeah, same. Just
time.
It is kind of our motto. So much anime, not enough time.
Too much anime, not enough time. If you don't even get the motto right, I have to ban you.
Get the fuck off here.
Get out of here. No, don't
I'm tired
actually
and I
leave.
have training in the morning.
Okay. Besides that, the only other thing that I watched was the Bunny Girl anime, which Matt, you wanted to talk about, so I'll wait on that one. Was there anything else that you wanted to get that you saw before we talk about?
Yeah, do tell.
Me in particular, I didn't really see anything else. I mean, there was a couple things I was interested in, like I know there's like the Release the Spyce or whatever, which is a spy show because it has spy in the name. I guess you could have gotten that, but
I thought it was a Dune remake.
Kyle, please. Can we put him in the Bad Lads chat, please?
Oh my god, not yet.
Oh come on! It was just for a split second, and I was just really excited because it's been a while since I've seen anything Dune.
So anyway, someone said it's like free, like a different version of it. I don't know.
Oh,
So
I'm into that then.
So
if it's actually good.
Some people said it was pretty good.
Yeah, I could watch another Princess Principal. I'm here for that.
So yeah, there's that. Irozuka, like the PA Works anime, it's on Amazon, so that's probably why I haven't heard anything about it. But I saw the backgrounds and they are very pretty. Backgrounds are very pretty.
I thought they would have phased like the exclusive anime out since Anime Strike.
They still have that like license to like 2 television blocks, so they get like 2 shows a season.
Ugh.
It's kind of annoying since they're like not even half-assing it. It's like 1/4-assing it.
Yeah, it's it's more of annoying than anything. Anyway, apparently it's pretty good. The animation is incredible. It's like
that's what
Kyoto animation levels. It's pretty good. I don't know anything about the plot, but it's something I was interested in.
It looks very pretty. It's something I would be super interested in checking out.
Yeah. I mean, besides that, you get your sequels, all your sequels.
Yeah.
And then
I'm interested in the KyoAni archery club one that's airing in a couple days.
Oh yeah. See.
Wait, what is this?
It's Tsurune.
Tsurune Kazumai Koko Kyodobu.
People are just calling it Tsurune.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a KyoAni archery club anime. It hasn't started airing yet. As of our recording, it's looked to airing in about 4 days. It looks interesting.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Oh, and I'm definitely interested in that weird Sora to Umi no Aida.
See, I actually have that one marked as well.
Yep, I definitely want to check it out. Like, with the weird premise of fish have disappeared, and so people have started building like space farms for fish.
What?
Yeah, that's what I got from that
it's
too.
Wild. So that sounds interesting. I might look at that sumo wrestling anime.
Oh yeah.
If I don't get around to it, I'm not gonna lose my shit.
Not gonna hold out on that one.
No. But I mean, aside from that, like I don't. There's nothing off the top of my head that I'm stunned to see.
Yeah, but I mean, we talked about good things. Good things.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, we've talked about a decent amount of stuff. So, which I mean, surprising because like I feel like the last seasonal podcast that we were talking about stuff, we talked like 5 things.
Well, that was in spring. Since we skipped out on summer.
And to be fair, a good bit of the stuff that I've talked about, I'm not going to follow up on.
Fair.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm curious about Bunny Girl Senpai, y'all. Unless there was something else y'all wanted to point out.
No. Let's jump into this.
I like this show a lot.
Actually. I like this show. I'm so horribly cautious. Mostly just because like it's doing such a great job with it that I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna cry, aren't I? That's what I'm cautious about.
paint me a word picture, y'all. What's up?
Honestly,
dude, this one's a bit complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into this.
There seems to be, and the big thing about this show actually doesn't have much to do with the bunny girl, which honestly is only in it for like 2 minutes. But it's this idea of what they call puberty syndrome, which is not like a normal like syndrome. It's more like like psychic power mess up, universe hates you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it manifests in different ways. So a bit of a spoiler for the first episode, but the bunny girl thing is because you have this girl who is in the spotlight all the time because she's an actual childhood actress, and she has been for so long that like she's just a household name at this point. And in order to try and find some semblance of life, she decides to give it up for at least a year, and just try to chillax by living a normal school life, which is not going well, but I mean, that's understandable. She's all of a sudden a childhood actress that shows up at your high school. Everyone's going to freak. But because of that, she kind of keeps to herself, and it causes this weird thing to manifest in which, because she is keeping to herself and not in the spotlight, all of a sudden she starts disappearing. And not just disappearing from, like, people aren't able to see her, but, like, people don't even remember her. So not only is she not there, like, there's times in which she's, like, walking down the hallway and legitimately people just smash into her and they just don't even realize it because she's just completely invisible to them. But they also, like, the main character finds out that some of these people don't even remember who she is anymore, and she's, like, just straight disappearing from the world slowly.
Wow.
That's one of the ways in which it manifests. There's another one where it discusses, once again, bit of a spoiler, it discusses that he believes that she has this weird thing going on with her, mostly because he's seen it before with his sister, who was, like, sucked into social media and, like, a big part of it. But after people started to make fun of her at school, they started spreading rumors and spreading a bunch of stuff around online. And every single time that there was a negative comment about her online, it manifested as an actual wound on her. And she ended up having to get hospitalized. And so now she's, like, deleted all of her social media accounts. She doesn't go to school, and she just tries to stay away from anybody because even a snide smile or a mean comment can cause her physical pain.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's fucking wild.
Like, that, I think that's a pretty apt description for this show, is that it's wild sometimes.
And the thing is that the main character does not have any answers at all. In fact, he doesn't even remember most of his past life, right, Matt?
Yeah, like, we've kind of not gotten a lot of that. Either he doesn't remember it, or, like, he doesn't have an explanation for it, so it's kind of like it doesn't exist.
It's just like he woke up one day in the hospital, he doesn't remember how he got there, and he has what looks like just a shark took a giant chunk out of his chest. And he doesn't know why, and no one would believe him at school. They just thought he was some fucking dude that, like, just picked the wrong fight with a bunch of dudes. And so, like, he doesn't really understand it. But because something weird happened to him, and because of what happened to his sister, it's caused him to try and figure out what's happening to other people, which is the premise of the show so far. I've only seen 2 episodes. Have you seen the third or fourth one?
I haven't seen the third one yet.
Okay. Oh, and the 4th one's not out yet. It's also very interesting because the show opens up with a scene, it's only about 30 seconds long, that takes place a little bit farther in. And it was very clever, actually, because you're like, I have no idea what the fuck this scene even means. And then after 2 episodes, you're like, oh, fuck, I know what that scene means, and it's real fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's so clever how, like, it's not another thing where they, like, come back to the scene and then replay it, and you're like, oh shit, it's just he goes to bed, and then the episode ends, and you realize where it's about to pick up. And you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, no. Like, they don't replay the scene at all. They just assume their audience is clever to pick up on it, and they're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I've been talking a lot, Matt.
Oh. Well, I was glad you got all the exposition out of the way, because that is what I was not looking forward to when talking about the show. So I'm glad you described it way better than I could have.
Because it gets real fucking complicated and
weird. There's a lot going on. I was actually really surprised when I first watched the show.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, this is way more I don't want to say intellectual, but
it's a smart show. So far it is a smart show, and it's treating the audience as like, you're smart, you'll get this.
Yeah.
It's very cerebral. in how it actually approaches its use of narrative structure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's also doing, and because of that, and because it's some weird ass shit, I applaud them that they're doing it at a very calm tone and pace for the show. I appreciate that immensely. Like, it's a very slow build towards the end of episode 2 whenever you finally realize, like, oh, that's what this show is.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that the dialogue is very... Even though there's a lot of dialogue, I feel like also it's very spaced out. It's not like an info dump like Monogatari style.
No, yeah.
Like, it's not like... So when people compared it to Monogatari, I was like, it's not really Monogatari.
I would say it's Monogatari in that they play a lot of word games, and they have, like, very witty banter back and forth between the two main characters.
Yeah, like, I think that's probably where that comparison came from, was the similarity there. But
that's about as far as that comparison goes, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very, the pacing for the dialogue and stuff just it felt slow, but I was interested the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, it was just and this is another thing, like, I never expected, I love the characters. They're amazing.
Yes, their personalities are fantastic, and they're not at all a trope, which I enjoy.
Yeah. And also, I love how they integrated this bizarro plot into, like, the characters and just how they're playing it out in general. Because, honestly, like, this could, like, have gone really badly if, I guess, if you were not a good writer. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I've seen, like, the supernatural, like, plot line done before, and it's, like, it can go a lot of different ways, and it can go bad really quick if you're not, like, good at laying out the details, and so far it's done a really good job. It almost reminded me of, after thinking about it a little bit, like, almost like a Jun Maeda style of, like, and that, when it's funny that Kyle was talking about crying later on in the show, possibly, because that's what I was thinking too. I was like, oh man, this is like some weird Jun Maeda vibes here. I'm getting some what's gonna happen later on in this show.
Yeah, unlike Jun Maeda, I don't think it's gonna turn into something where it becomes, like, actually physically torturous, but it's definitely going to be emotionally investing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But, yeah, I love the characters. I adore them. Like, it is amazing.
I think, to the show's benefit, I think the reason why it works so well is really that, in that the characters are just very well-written individuals and seem relatively well-rounded so far. So a lot of the weird shit that's happening, it's kind of just seeing how these characters react to the weird things that are happening. And that's where a lot of that drama and investment comes from. It's just like, you already like these characters, and then you get to see how they would perform in these strange ass situations they find themselves in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are so many scenes that I'm just like, yes, this is what I needed. Like, I've honestly, like, this anime just felt like so, like, something I was into. Like, I don't know exactly, like, how I put it, but this anime is totally me. Just the style. I don't know. Like,
no,
there's no, like, real comparison for that. It's just,
no, it's just like, if you know Matt, you know what he likes, and this, like, ticks every box.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, I don't want to. I don't want this to come across as like a weird typecasting kind of thing for you, but I saw this and I read the description of it and watched a preview for it, and my immediate thought was, this is, I think, very up Matt's alley. And I can't explain specifically why.
I know, isn't that weird though?
I think that is a testament to the wonderful character you are.
I'm not even sure what that means, but yeah. Thanks. Question mark. But it's...
What else can I say but you're welcome?
It's, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, there's a lot. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot to get out of the show.
It definitely seems like
watch it.
It's like I'm only 2 episodes in, and I'm just immediately invested into this thing.
Yeah, like I was just so surprised at how invested I was, because I watched it and some people were kind of like lukewarm about it, and I was like, okay, so I guess I have to watch this just because there's so many differing opinions on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll watch it. I was interested anyway, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch it now. So I started with it. It was the first anime I watched of the season. And I got out of the first 2 episodes, and I was like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have started with this one. This is, not in the way that I don't know. I just felt like that it was not downhill from here, per se, but I was just like, man, this is going to be my favorite. And I don't know if anything can replace this.
Yeah,
There's just so much to love about it.
Whenever you recommended this to me and I saw what it was about, and you gave me like a little bit of like what the tone is going to be like whenever we talked about it, and so like I was about to like click play on it, and then I was like, maybe I should watch the Skeleton Cell books first. Because I was like, because otherwise Skeleton Boy is not going to be a good follow-up.
Yeah, but
fair enough.
It's good.
Yeah, it sounds like a hell of a ringer, so I'm definitely interested in getting around to this bad boy.
Yeah, that's all I can say is watch it. But
I mean, I take your boys' recommendations pretty highly.
Aw, thanks, Boo.
That's good. Thank you.
I mean, like, I wouldn't do this show with y'all if I didn't. So,
okay,
y'all are folks of taste.
That's at least good. I hope we never develop shit taste, because apparently you won't be here. So
he'll abandon us.
Yes, because I would probably have some degree of shit taste too, to have an opinion of y'all like that. So,
dang.
So, anything else that you guys can think about that you like got to?
I mean, like, I guess it doesn't really count, but I've still been watching Attack on Titan season 3, and wow, fuck, they got a budget, and it's really nice. I mean, it already had a budget, but it has consistently gotten better.
Isn't it like in hiatus right now, or like for like there's another core coming, or?
So technically, it's a. I thought it was going to.
Tell me what's going on there. Yeah.
And it is a 2-core kind of thing. We've only got through about half of it. I heard that there might be a bit of a pause on it, but as far as I know, like, they released a new episode as of this past Sunday. So.
See, I heard something like it was going to resume or something, like in a next season.
There's a brief break, for one thing, because of the earthquake that happened over there a few weeks back, and they delayed one episode. But I had forgotten about that.
They weren't the only one to delay too. That's
right.
When I heard about that, I was like, yeah, no, ignore the anime. Are they okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like
let's see here.
Looks like
oh no, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
that says season 3 picks up in April of 2019.
Yeah,
what the fuck? That's
what I was saying. Like, I thought this is what I heard. Like,
huh?
Yeah. So, not to burst your bubble, but I'm glad you're enjoying it. But yeah, there's a pause.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's fine. That is okay. From where we are currently, this would be a good place for them to take a pause.
Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't watch season 2, but apparently some really interesting things. That series has gotten really interesting. Apparently.
Here's the thing. It has very much gone in the way of the Titans are the less interesting thing about the show at this point now, because it's gotten very much into a lot of human drama that revolves around Titans, but it's still very much an interhuman, interpersonal thing.
Honestly, it's like that's the way that like The Walking Dead has gone, and honestly, I
didn't want to say it was like The Walking Dead, but
yeah. That's the thing, is that like even though you have this entire universe that's like filled with zombies or whatever the fuck for The Walking Dead, the character drama is usually the stronger story anyways.
Yeah.
So I think that's completely okay for Attack on Titan to do.
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with that at all.
And that's the thing, like that. I'm glad it took that pivot, because honestly, I probably would have gotten bored with it if it was continually just like, more new Titans, but this one does different shit. And I'm like, okay, cool, I guess.
There are probably some people that like that, which is fine, but you know.
Yeah, but
there's other shows for that, I guess.
Yeah, it could always go the DBZ
like,
route.
I can go watch a Monster of the Week kind of show if I want that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I'm good. I'm glad that I'm hearing that it's at least living up to. So I know season 2 was kind of, but apparently season 3 really picked it up.
Yeah, it's some good shit. So
yeah,
I'm pretty happy with it.
I mean, that's good.
But yeah, aside from that, like, I'm not currently watching anything else, but like we said, there's other stuff I want to watch.
Yeah.
Like again, I really want to get to JoJo Part 5, but I haven't had time to watch Part 4. So
nice.
I'm behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really want to hit that Pingu in the City season 2, but I gotta finish it.
Is there a season 2, really?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, there is. Wow.
Yeah, but like I see, I really couldn't get a full enjoyment out of it if I didn't get the full narrative arc of the first season.
Right. Like, it matters what happens in that first season, because otherwise, like, Pingu living in the city, there's got to be a lot of deep-seated, like, adult issues that he's going to have to deal with, going about his taxes, you know.
I almost thought we were serious for a minute. And I was like, wait a second. Wait a minute. I was about to make a call out. I was like, wait a minute, guys. Are we seriously doing this with Pingu in the city?
Can you imagine how good that would be, though, if like it's legitimately Pingu dealing with like taxes and making rent, and his landlord hates him, and he's just trying to get a good life, make a bank for his family.
Like an actually good work-life sitcom.
Yeah, like a Gretsuko. But Pingu. That would be so good.
God.
Man, I think
and then one episode he's just on his knees crying, and you just hear him go in the saddest tone, doot doot.
Oh my god. Man, that's the most absurd thing since I've seen Banana with the alternative subtitle track.
Oh gosh, that was good.
Oh, that takes me back.
All right. But yeah, I don't have much else to say.
I don't either.
That makes 3 of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we will catch everybody for the next one. Because we're back. And
we're really gone, but we were kind of gone, but we're really back now.
We took a bit of a break, but rested up, but we're back. So see you all for the next one.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for listening, and if you're listening after the small hiatus we had, thanks for sticking with us. All 3 of us needed a break for a bit to work on some gross real-life stuff, so it means a lot if you stuck with us during that break. As always, you can find all our podcast, articles, videos, etc. at thebacklogers.com. Our intro-outro song is The Bear by Shaun the Pit, who you can find on Spotify as well as Bandcamp. And we'd love to hear from y'all either in the comments on our site or any feedback you want to leave us on whatever podcast platform you like, iTunes, SoundCloud, or just use your latent psychic powers and send us a message telepathically. I know you got them. And as always, we're on Twitter at @the_Backloggers, so come hang with us. See you later.